Mortgage interest rates as well as housing inventory are at record lows in the US right now. On the other hand, home prices are at record highs and we're seeing a lot of home buyer demand right now. So selling a house is as easy as making money off Tesla stock this year. Is our surging housing market sustainable? If not, will home prices go down and will we have foreclosures flood the market? And how does our real estate market today compare to our last major downturn of a real estate market? And that, of course, was the Great Recession of 2008. Let's discuss this because this is a hot topic and a common question that I get. What will happen to our real estate market next year? So this is going to be part one of a two-part video series that I'm going to be doing. And in today's video, I'm going to share how 2008 compares to our current real estate market. In part two of this video series, I'm going to be sharing what to look out for that would be possible indicators of a looming housing crash. So please subscribe if you haven't done so already and hit the bell to be notified when I post new videos just like that one. Welcome everyone. If you're new here, I'm Jason Walter. I'm a licensed realtor and a licensed CPA, and I post videos about how this pandemic is affecting our real estate market. I'm getting a lot of comments on the channel about doom and gloom in our real estate market. This is not sustainable. A housing crash is coming. Foreclosures will hit hard nationwide. There are no homes for sale. And of course, when will a housing crash happen? And I totally get this. I completely understand because people have dreams of owning a house and are getting very frustrated with our current real estate market because home prices keep going up month after month after month. Plus, there's a lot of uncertainty in our world right now. So at the time of this video, according to Johns Hopkins University, there have been over 1.6 million global deaths due to COVID and over 298,000 from the US. To give you some perspective on this, I posted a video about this about 6 months ago. And at that time, we only had 28,000 deaths worldwide due to COVID. So in 6 months, we went from 28,000 to 1.6 million. In addition, unemployment is on the rise and roughly 12 million Americans will lose their unemployment benefits on December 26 unless Congress passes another relief package. Talks have been ongoing about delivering more financial relief to the American people, but so far a deal has not been made. And I'll keep you updated on that. In contrast, our stock market absolutely plummeted 35% in late March, but now it has soared to record highs. So, what does this all mean for our real estate market going forward? Are we headed for another housing crash? Before that, please hit the like button. I greatly appreciate that. That helps support this channel. And honestly, videos like these tend to take hours and hours to make with all the research involved, and YouTube is definitely not my full-time job. All I ask is for a simple like, so thank you so much for doing that, and let's go ahead and dive right into the video. I realize that many of you, especially millennials, were not homeowners and were not looking to buy a house in 2008. So let's take a look at what happened in 2008 and how that compares to our current housing market. In the early 2000s, home prices were absolutely skyrocketing to levels that were not sustainable. In order to cool our overly inflated real estate market, Federal Reserve Chairman Alan Greenspan at the time raised the federal funds rate over and over again. So the Fed raised the federal funds rate 5 times in 2004, raising it a total of 1% that year. It raised it 8 times in 2005, rising 2 full percentage points to 4.25% by December 2005. In 2006, the new Fed chair, Ben Bernanke, gave a final blow to our housing market back then by raising the rate 4 times. By June 2006, the federal funds rate hit 5.25%. If you're keeping count there, that is 17 rate hikes or a 4% rate increase in just 3 years. And that is absolutely insane because that caused mortgage interest rates to skyrocket during that period, which killed our real estate market at the time. And here's how. Here's a key point here. What the Fed did not realize at this time was that there's thousands and thousands of people buying houses with interest-only loans with an adjustable interest rate. This type of loan is called an adjustable rate mortgage, or ARM. What the Fed also did not realize is that there was a massive amount of mortgage-backed securities that contained these types of bad loans. These investments were then sold on the secondary market by investment banks in huge numbers. And this is one of the main reasons why we had the Great Recession of 2008. Let's discuss how that happened. So first, let's talk about these adjustable interest-only loans, or ARMs, and how they became about. Home prices in the early 2000s were absolutely skyrocketing, and it became more and more challenging for home buyers to find a house within their budget. Back then, I remember that it was a common notion that people believed that home prices were going to continue to soar. I mean, why would home prices ever go down, right? People also thought, I am never going to be able to buy a house because home prices are absolutely skyrocketing and interest rates are also rising. So to solve this problem of affordability, lenders got creative and started offering loans where the home buyer would only need to make interest-only payments for a set term such as 3 to 10 years. After that, you'd have to pay interest plus principal. You see, by offering loans where the homeowner only needed to make interest-only payments, that made their mortgage payment a lot cheaper and also more affordable. Let me give you an example. So let's say you're going to buy a beautiful $300,000 house in California using a 20% down payment and assuming a 3% interest rate. Your mortgage payment of principal plus interest would be around $1,000 per month, meaning a portion goes to pay off your mortgage loan balance or your principal, and another portion of your payment goes to pay off the interest owed. However, if you only had to pay interest and not any towards your principal balance, then your payment would be a mere $600 per month for 3 to 10 years, depending on the terms of your loan. Therefore, your mortgage payment is drastically less during this teaser period. So the lender is basically saying, just pay us the interest owed for a short period of time, 3 to 10 years. Don't worry about paying down your principal loan balance for now. This allowed home buyers to buy more expensive houses because their mortgage payment, at least initially, was a lot less. However, and here's a key point here, after this teaser period was over, then the homeowners had to pay principal and interest, so their mortgage payment shot up drastically. So what happened was that homeowners could not afford their mortgage payment anymore after this teaser period was over. So imagine only paying $600 per month, and then all of a sudden, after years of paying this, your mortgage payment goes up to $1,000 per month. So your mortgage payment almost doubled. To make matters even worse, the interest rate for these ARMs was adjustable for this teaser period, meaning when interest rates increase, so did your mortgage payment. Remember, the Fed increased the federal funds rate 17 times from 2004 to 2006. So people's mortgage payments that had ARMs kept on going up and up and up. However, remember when I said that people thought home prices were going to continue to go up? So people thought, okay, well, if my mortgage payment's going to be going up to a level that I cannot afford, I'll just sell my house. At this time, home buyers were really excited about this loan program because they thought, awesome, I can afford a more expensive house because I only have to make interest-only payments for this teaser period of 3 to 10 years, depending on the loan program. Also, they don't have to worry about their mortgage payment increasing after that teaser program when you have to start paying principal and interest, because they can just refinance and sell their house because, after all, home prices are going to be going up forever, right? So what could go wrong with this strategy, right? The answer is a lot could go wrong, and a lot did go wrong. So this strategy only works if interest rates remain the same or decline, and if home prices continue to rise. So what happened? First of all, mortgage interest rates absolutely skyrocketed. Remember, the Fed raised the federal funds rate 17 times from 2004 to 2006. Plus, housing inventory absolutely flooded the market and home prices crashed. As home values dropped drastically, many homeowners realized that they were deep underwater, meaning that their home was worth a lot less than what they owed their mortgage company. So a lot of these people could not sell their houses because they had no equity in their houses. Their only option was to try to do a short sale or get foreclosed on. And this at the time created a massive amount of foreclosures in the US because people A, could no longer afford their mortgage payment, and their home values dropped so much that they decided to walk away and let their banks foreclose on them. There were so many foreclosures in the US during this time that in some areas, 75 to 85% of their total sales were from foreclosures. When you compare that to now, it's drastically different. So in Sacramento County, where I live, for example, only 0.5% of our home sales are from foreclosures and short sales. Now, going back to the early 2000s, to make matters even worse, back then you could get what was called a stated income loan, otherwise known as the liar loan. They called it a liar loan because at that time, the lender did not ask for any income verification in order to prove that you actually could afford the mortgage payment. So imagine that you apply for a mortgage, which was probably the largest loan that you'll ever apply for, and the lender didn't ask for any documentation to prove that you actually could afford the mortgage payment. These stated income loans allowed people to get a loan for a higher amount than what they would qualify for. It was an absolute joke to get a loan approved in the early 2000s. So back then, you could get an adjustable interest-only loan, plus you didn't have to prove that you actually could qualify for that loan. It was an absolute joke. And of course, like I mentioned earlier in this video, during this time, investment banks packaged all of these bad loans and sold them in mass amounts as mortgage-backed securities. However, when these individual loans went into default, meaning that the home was foreclosed on, this had a rippling effect on pension funds and mutual funds who had invested in these securities. This caused a subprime mortgage crisis as well as the Great Recession of 2008. A great movie about this is called The Big Short. Great movie. The US government caught wind to all these bad loans and responded to the financial crisis of 2008 by passing the Dodd-Frank Act in 2010. Among other things, this act restricted the state income loans, which obviously was a good thing, but they should have passed this act years before that. Therefore, government restrictions obviously made it more challenging to get a home loan, which is a good thing. So we no longer have these creative loans in place, and that's a great thing because that helps stabilize our real estate market. What else is very different when you compare 2007, 2008 to present day? And one very significant factor is the number of houses available for sale or housing inventory. Currently, housing inventory in the US is down 19.8% from 1 year ago, and unsold inventory is at a record low. This basically means that there's fewer options for houses to buy by home buyers. Let me take this a step further. I ran a report today for Northern California to see how inventory has changed over the last 15 years. Inventory in light green there peaked in 2007 when there were over 32,000 houses available for sale. Again, this is in Northern California. In 2005, there were about 18,000 houses available for sale. Compare that to now, and we only have about 4,000 houses on the market. Therefore, there's about 8 times less houses available for sale when you compare that to 2007. This is very important because when there's a shortage of houses available for sale plus high buyer demand, that drives home prices up. And that's what we're seeing today. Will that change? We'll have to see, obviously, right? Home prices cannot continue to go up forever, and inventory has to go up at some point in time. In contrast, in 2008, we had a huge surplus of housing inventory in the US. Plus, we had weakening buyer demand due to raising interest rates and a faltering economy, and that caused home prices to absolutely plummet. In addition, when you compare 2008 to 2009, mortgage interest rates are significantly lower now. So interest rates for a 30-year fixed rate mortgage were around 6 to 6.5% in 2008. But now they're only around 2.7%, which is a record low. By the way, the record low interest rates is due in part to the Fed decreasing the federal funds rate to 0% earlier this year because of this pandemic. And remember, in 2006, that rate was 5.25%. There were many factors that caused the housing crash and the financial crisis of 2008 that are no longer present in today's market. If our real estate market today had a very high amount of inventory levels, plus we had a very high amount of bad loans in place, and we had rising interest rates mixed with greedy investment banks selling these securities full of bad loans, then we would be in big, big trouble. Of course, things can change, and I'll be sure to report that on the channel. Home prices cannot go up forever, and the price appreciation that we're seeing today is not sustainable, in my opinion. Check out episode 2 of this video series. I'll share my thoughts about what to look out for that would be possible indicators of a housing crash. Please subscribe and I'll keep you updated with new developments. Also, hit the like button if you appreciate real estate market updates just like this one. You also can follow me on Instagram. I'm Sacramento Realtor. Hope you have an awesome day. I look forward to seeing you on the next video.